Right, welcome to Culture Zoo, where art, life, and creativity all come together in the best kind of chaos. I'm Isha.
I'm Melinda.
And here is our late night group chat. Unfiltered, a little messy, and also full of big thoughts. So we're talking art, life, identity, creative work, and all the weird stuff in between as well. So with our friends, our guests, or sometimes just with our own delusions, this is where we let the convo run wild. So buckle up, get comfy, and welcome to the zoo.
So you want to be a DJ, travel the world, drop bangers, and also live the dream? But here's the real tea. It's not all smoke machines and serotonin. Especially in Malaysia, where choosing DJing over a real job can get you side-eyed at family dinners. Today we're talking to Ziad, who's been spinning against the grain, literally, and proving that passion can pay off, just not always in the way that you would expect.
So let's give it up for Ziad! Woo!
Hiya, thank you for having me. I'm Ziad. I am a part-time DJ, full-time studying enthusiast. And I've been spinning for almost 3 years now, across Scotland, London, and Malaysia.
Alright, so just to start things off today, I think my question for you, especially since we live in Malaysia, which is quite conservative, so what are your thoughts? Like, do you consider DJing a real job?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it depends on who the target group is and who I have to answer the question to. If it would be younger generation, they're always joking about it, and then you have to like prove them wrong and show them, look, this is actually what you can do for a living. The older generation, they're always going to neglect that you can do something that involves having fun and also making you so much money on the side. So it depends, essentially.
So do you think that it's more of like a passion project or like something that you do as a side income?
I think it's a bit of both. For me, it's more a passion. I think it's like, I just really hated how some people would play music in a club and not take into consideration the feelings or the mood or vibe of the dance floor. And I was one of that person, you know, I was someone on the dance floor at the time, and I was like, oh my god, this is so bad, I gotta change it. And it became like a passion, and then I came to Malaysia where people do this as a job, and I realized that you can actually make a lot of money out of it.
Okay, so let's expand more on that. Like, why do you think it becomes less of a passion, especially somewhere like Malaysia?
I think Malaysia in general is not really much of you, it's more of the club or the venue, and you have to make sure their vision, you know, you align with their vision. It's not like I can do whatever I want. It's more as a club owner or promoter, I'm booking you, I want my show to do well, and I want to make money. You're gonna have to play this music, or you have to do this thing, so that we can end up, you know, winning. All of us win. So there's not much passion involved, and very rarely you get a chance to, you know, showcase your own skills or something new to the crowd, you know, etc.
So basically, what's like a fact that you think that everyone assumes a DJ like does or is true about DJing, but it's actually wrong?
I think the biggest one is that people think we don't do anything, or like DJs don't do anything, we just press buttons, and we just, you know, make noises and scratch, you know, like that stuff. But that is very wrong. DJing is actually super difficult, and if you have no like taste in, or like sense and understanding of music before that, it's going to be really hard to pick up. There's so many other factors, like personality as well comes into it. The way you play music has a personality. All these things aren't easy at first. And it's not always about pressing buttons. There's so much more behind understanding music and creating opportunities and new ideas and all these things. So, yeah.
I mean, like, aside from the fact that people think it's just a bunch of pressing buttons, like, I think a lot of people also assume that a typical night for a DJ or a typical gig for a DJ is like, you know, they're there just to get girls, for example, get girls, or they're there just to kind of just show face, you know. So do you agree with that, or is there something more to what your typical gig or night looks like?
Personally, no, but generally, yes. I agree to a statement in terms of the whole, in terms of what I've seen in most clubs in most countries. That's the personality that they show off. It probably is true, but personally, that's not a priority of mine. It's more of, I really don't care about the crowd or the people or the girls. I care more. I mean, of course, it's nicer to have, everyone would agree it's nicer to have girls with you. That's always a plus. But then personally, for me, it's more about playing the music I like.
Continuing from what you said about like the crowd and how like, you know, you view it as like playing your own music and everything, like what's the worst gig you've ever had in your life?
The worst one I've had would probably be in Malaysia, for sure. And it was just like a rooftop gig at a really nice hotel full of expats and internationals. And I was really, really enjoying the music. But then I would get comments from typically an older crowd, and they would be like, "Oh, can you play music from the 70s?" And then over here I'm thinking like, wow, I'm really putting so much effort into this genre that I'm playing now. And then they want me to play music from the 70s. They're not really appreciating that this is what I'm doing and this is my passion and this is my taste. Essentially, a DJ's job is to play the music that they like and hope that the audience can tune into it. So after that night, I was just like, I feel like quitting. Like, no, they left. There was no one there. There was maybe like the bartenders and a couple people, but like that was probably the worst feeling. And it's very normal in Malaysia. Or even the opening sets. When you play opening sets, there's no one there. Everyone only goes for the hype. Or like they never come to support you. You know? They will go for someone else's opening set because they're, you know, more known and they're cooler. But oh, who's this guy, Ziad? Opening set, who cares about him? Oh, let's go and see the other friend at a better time, you know? Like damn, okay. There's no appreciation for anything anymore. It's quite sad.
So, with the local DJing scene, how do you feel about, you know, showcasing our local sound? I feel like it's not really talked about enough and it's not really shown enough either. Like, in terms of local sound, I feel like most of the songs that DJs would play are the TikTok famous ones. So how do we really, you know, show our local music scene?
Most people that I know do it enough, because at the same time, we also have to cater to the fact that most people in Malaysia speak English, and we have to play music that we listen to. But there's some songs that pop off, like, you know, Malay ones that pop off. I can't really relate when it comes to Malay songs, just because my upbringing was mostly Middle Eastern. And I think that's the biggest thing when it came to coming back from the UK, coming here. Over the year, I've realized that I've, you know, reconnected with culture, with my, you know, my family, my dad's side of the family, my more Middle Eastern side, and that's actually influenced me to play more Middle Eastern music. And thankfully, the scene has moved towards that side as well, especially Malaysia playing, you know, Middle Eastern music, which is good. But I don't think Malaysian music will pop off too much here. I just don't think it's something that people would really enjoy. Like, maybe it's different. Like, Malaysia is very different as an Asian country compared to like somewhere like Vietnam, where it would probably pop off, you know, listening to Vietnamese music, or like Thailand listening to Thai music. Malaysia is more of an international kind of hub. And even though most of us aren't international, we were from here, we were brought up with that mindset. So I don't think you can really, there's only so much you can do when it comes to that.
I think there are some DJs who try to like blend these genres, you know, like, you know, there's this really famous Sheila Majid song, Sinaran, right? And you always hear like mixes of it into like a kind of house rendition, kind of like a jazz kind of rendition. So I feel like, you know, there are local DJs trying to experiment, but it's just something that's not really, you know, it's not very well known or like something that people look for.
Yeah. It's more of a surprise, I think. It's like if it happens, wow. That's pretty.
Yeah, because every time a song like that comes up, people are always like, oh my god, like we all know this song, you know? So I think it's always like a nice surprise.
And like I think like Malaysia in general was also like culture shock for me, because like comparing to how it was back home in Indonesia, like they play a lot of Indonesian songs, so a lot of people were accustomed to it. So when I came to Malaysia, I was kind of also expecting the same, but it turns out that they were very in touch with like international music and everything, and even like genres like Middle Eastern songs and like Afro beats and everything is more popular than their own songs. So to you, is that also like something that you've also noticed, or do you think?
I think it's been like this for a long time though. Like, you know, even when I speak to my mom about the history and how was it, you know, how it was like back in the past, and she'd be like, yeah, you know, Malaysia had a really international scene back in the day. I think that's kind of the way that KL, maybe not Malaysia as a whole, but KL has moved.
What would you tell like your younger self when you first started out, whether it be, you know, back in St. Andrews or here? Like, what would you tell your past self?
Nice. Keep going.
Nice.
Nice, good job.
I think keep going, and, you know, experience is something that you should never neglect. You should always like take it with a pinch of salt, whether it's a good thing or bad thing. You should always just learn from it and move on and use it to your best advantage. Use those bad experiences to make the next one a better one.
Learn from these bad experiences.
Exactly.
So next time someone's telling you that DJing isn't a real job, just send them this episode. Big thanks to Ziad for keeping it honest and unfiltered. If you're dreaming of dropping your first set, do it. Just know it's less rockstar life and more sleep-deprived setlist curating and people yelling, please play Drake at 1 a.m.
Thank you very much for tuning in to the Culture Zoo podcast. And we're gonna take a wrap on this episode. So Culture Zoo, it's where culture, art, and real life all combine, even though it can be messy, but at least it's meaningful. But if something sparked a thought, made you laugh, or even just made you feel a little bit more seen, share it with a friend and stick around because we've got more unfiltered conversations coming your way. Until then, keep it real and keep it curious. We'll see you back at the zoo. Bye.